Hello everyone, welcome to my week 5 discussion board presentation for MPA 594, where I'll be going over management and leadership in public sector. So for the change that needs to take place, the scenario I'm choosing is again for the water industry. So here we have the water municipality that I work at. This actually just happened about a month ago. We got a new regulatory compliance supervisor, and with this new supervisor, they were tasked with implementing our new stormwater pollution prevention plan. This is mandated by the state of California. Pretty much what this entails is we have to have a plan in place for when there's rainy weather or wet weather events. And I work at a wastewater facility, so we treat all the wastewater that we collect from the sewer system, but when it rains, there's a lot of water that runs down the gutters and down the street or the asphalt on the plant premise. And if it rains heavy enough, the pumps at the south end of the treatment plant aren't able to keep up, so it ends up overflowing into the discharge and going into the Santa Ana River. So there's got to be a plan in place to make sure that we're keeping we're doing good housekeeping around the plant to make sure there's no pollutants entering the gutters or the storm drains that will eventually make it out to the river. The three themes that will have to take place will be planning, uh, directing and coordinating, and motivation. And all these things are managerial and leadership tasks that the new compliance supervisor will have to take on. So the first step that the new compliance supervisor will have to undergo is the planning process. And for this part, we could look at Gulick's PostCorp, where it's very critical in the planning stages in order for all the other steps to align. So the new supervisor will have to plan ahead, and most likely, since they're new to the team, so all the wastewater operators have already been there, so the supervisor is a new person. They have the knowledge behind the environmental compliance regulations and the codes that we have to follow. So they might well go ahead and take a scientific management approach. They know best because this is their line of work. So in their planning processes, they most likely follow a Taylor approach or scientific management and put a plan together in that manner. And again, we could look at the chain of command. So the compliance supervisor will know that there are specialized individuals within the team that with specific skill sets that will be able to handle the tasks that he's putting in place for the planning process. The next step for this regulatory compliance supervisor to take is directing and coordinating. So again, Gulick's PostCorp comes into play. Directing and coordinating is going to be very key here to make sure that the supervisor is able to give the tasks to individuals with the skill sets needed to complete those tasks. And Henry Fayol acknowledges that managers and supervisors have the right to dictate how certain aspects of the work is going to be done. And this is because there's a discipline and unity command within the department or the agency, and hopefully that the people hired within the team are skilled and well qualified for their positions. In this phase, it's most helpful if the supervisor takes on more of a situational leadership role where they're able to get a feeling for the team and how everybody feels with the current plan and the new regulatory compliance tasks that they need to do for the state, and fill the position that they need to do in order to make sure that all the team members are doing what they're doing and everybody's accountable for their tasks. So they might have to either take a uh, more of a directed approach with their managerial style, or they might be more laid back, and if they see that the team is well qualified or confident in their abilities, then they can take a step back and let the team handle and work things out the way they need to be. Finally, to implement this new change within the department and to get all the wastewater operators on board, what I think is the most important is the motivation aspect of the change. So here we could obviously go back to Maslow's theory of motivation, where as long as all the basic needs of the individual are met, they can become more self-actualized and be the best worker that they can be. And in order to get there, the manager or the lead manager needs to move away from just I guess a dictator approach to more of a leadership approach in order to help everybody up that motivational ladder. And I think a real good way to do this is by instilling a moral values within the department, or having a strong code of ethics that everybody can abide to and be held accountable to. Aristotle believed that not all people are just born virtuous. Virtuous people are made over time based on their actions and their life choices. So here, if we have a strong ethical leader that everybody can look up to as a mentor, then that person, that supervisory leadership is more of a virtuous person in the department, which can then lead to transformational leadership, which really goes hand in hand with Mary Parker Follett's approach with having the sharing of power with employees versus just having power over employees, and having this open communication between employees and managers. You can have this transformational change within the team by having such strong leadership style from the supervisor / manager. And when there are strong ethics or moral values within the department that that the team strives for, then Chester Bernard's his theory of informal and formal communication. So hopefully with informal communication is a lot more positive, and the workers are motivating themselves amongst themselves to do what they need to do to meet compliance and protect the environment, and do what they need to do to best serve the customers and the citizens within their district. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving weekend.